Ethan Callaway was one of the youngest billionaires in the country, the mysterious owner of a technology empire worth billions of dollars. Newspapers described him as a genius, television hosts called him the most eligible bachelor alive, and business magazines admired his sharp mind. Yet behind the luxurious penthouses, private jets, and endless fortune, Ethan carried a quiet loneliness that no amount of money could erase. Every relationship he had ever experienced seemed to revolve around his wealth. Some women loved his expensive gifts, others adored his famous name, but none ever seemed to notice the man beneath the tailored suits. After ending another engagement when he discovered his fiancée secretly negotiating a settlement before they were even married, Ethan lost faith in romance altogether. One evening, while speaking with his elderly grandmother Margaret, she smiled gently and told him, "If you want someone to love your heart instead of your wallet, stop showing them your wallet." Those words stayed with him. A week later, Ethan disappeared from public view. His company announced he was taking a personal sabbatical, while in reality he rented a tiny apartment in a quiet town nearly 3 hours away from the city. He grew a light beard, wore old jeans, second-hand jackets, and carried a worn backpack. His luxury watch was replaced with a cheap plastic one, and instead of driving sports cars, he walked everywhere or rode an old bicycle. To everyone in town, Ethan was simply Ed, a quiet man who appeared homeless at times because he spent most of his days wandering parks and searching for temporary jobs. Some people ignored him, others laughed, and a few treated him with suspicion. Ethan silently observed how differently the world behaved when they believed someone had nothing. One rainy afternoon he sat outside a small neighborhood bakery, soaked from the storm. People hurried past without making eye contact. Just as he prepared to leave, the bakery door opened and a young woman stepped outside carrying a warm loaf of bread and a cup of coffee. "You look freezing," she said with a warm smile. "Please take these." Ethan tried refusing, but she insisted. "It's okay. Kindness isn't something you should pay back." Her name was Lily Harper, the bakery's assistant manager. She wasn't rich, nor famous, but her kindness shone brighter than anything Ethan had ever seen. Over the next several weeks, Ethan found excuses to visit the bakery every morning. Sometimes he swept the sidewalk outside in exchange for breakfast. Other times he helped unload flour deliveries. Lily always thanked him as if he were doing her a favor instead of the other way around. She never asked why he looked poor or where he slept. She simply treated him like every other human being deserved to be treated, with dignity. Ethan gradually learned about her life. She had lost both parents in a car accident years earlier and was raising her teenage brother Noah while working long hours. Money was always tight, yet she somehow found enough generosity to help strangers. Meanwhile, Lily discovered that Ed was surprisingly intelligent. He spoke thoughtfully about books, business, architecture, and history. She joked that he sounded like someone who secretly owned half the world. Ethan only smiled and changed the subject. Their friendship slowly blossomed into something deeper. They spent evenings walking by the river, sharing simple meals, and laughing over childhood memories. For the first time in years, Ethan felt completely accepted without the burden of wealth. One afternoon Lily found Ethan repairing an old park bench. "You're always fixing things," she laughed. "Maybe someday you'll fix your own life too." Ethan looked into her eyes and quietly replied, "Maybe. I already have." Months passed, and Ethan fell deeply in love. He wanted to tell Lily the truth every single day, but fear stopped him. Would revealing his identity destroy everything they had built? His grandmother advised patience. Tell her only when your heart is certain she already loves the man, not the money. Then disaster struck. The bakery's owner suddenly announced he was selling the building to a real estate developer. Every employee would lose their jobs within 30 days. Lily desperately searched for loans to buy the bakery herself, but every bank rejected her application because she lacked collateral. Ethan wanted to write one check and solve everything immediately, yet he worried such a dramatic revelation would make Lily feel deceived. Before he could decide, another problem appeared. Noah was seriously injured in a motorcycle accident and required expensive surgery not fully covered by insurance. Lily spent sleepless nights crying outside the hospital, wondering how she could possibly save her brother while also trying to save the bakery. Ethan watched her silently carrying the weight of the world without complaining. Finally he realized the truth mattered less than protecting the woman he loved. The following morning he disappeared. Lily searched everywhere but couldn't find him. She feared he had left town forever. 2 days later she received a formal invitation to the grand opening ceremony of Callaway Technologies' newest innovation center in the city. Assuming it had been delivered by mistake, she nearly threw it away until she noticed a handwritten note inside. "Please come. I owe you the truth. Ed." Confused, Lily borrowed a dress from a friend and attended the event. The ballroom glittered with crystal chandeliers, politicians, celebrities, and reporters. She felt completely out of place until the announcer called, "Please welcome our founder and CEO, Mr. Ethan Callaway." Lily froze as the man she knew as homeless Ed walked confidently onto the stage wearing a perfectly tailored black suit. The entire audience erupted into applause. Ethan looked directly at Lily before beginning his speech. "People often ask how I built a billion-dollar company. Today I'd rather tell you how I found someone who reminded me what success actually means." The room fell silent. Ethan confessed everything: the fake identity, his search for genuine love, his fear of being valued only for his fortune, and how Lily's compassion changed his life. Cameras turned toward Lily as tears filled her eyes. When the speech ended, Ethan stepped down from the stage and walked across the crowded ballroom until he stood before her. "I lied about who I was," he admitted softly. "That was wrong, and I will regret hurting you for the rest of my life. But every laugh we shared, every conversation, every feeling I have for you was real. I don't expect forgiveness today. I only hope you'll believe that I truly love you." Lily stared at him silently before asking one question. "When you sat outside the bakery in the rain that first day, were you really cold?" Ethan smiled sadly. "Very." She shook her head with a tiny laugh. "Then at least one thing about you wasn't pretending." Although hurt by the deception, Lily realized the lonely man she had come to love was standing before her exactly as she had known him inside. She asked for time to think. Ethan respected her decision without pressure. During the following weeks he quietly paid for Noah's surgery through an anonymous charitable foundation so Lily would never feel indebted to him. He also secretly purchased the bakery building, not to own it himself, but to transfer full ownership to Lily without charging a single dollar. When Lily discovered what he had done, she confronted him. Ethan simply replied, "I don't want to rescue you. I want to invest in the dreams you've already earned." Subscribe to my channel. She finally understood that the billionaire standing before her was still the same humble man who had repaired broken benches, shared cheap coffee, and listened to her worries without judgment. Wealth had never changed his heart, it had only hidden it. Months later, Ethan invited Lily back to the riverside where they had shared countless evening walks. There were no reporters, no luxury yachts, and no extravagant decorations, just the quiet sound of flowing water beneath the setting sun. Ethan knelt on one knee and held out a simple ring. "You loved me when you believed I had nothing," he whispered. Now I promise to spend the rest of my life proving that my greatest treasure was never my fortune, it was finding you." With tears streaming down her face, Lily said yes. Their wedding reflected the same values that brought them together. Instead of extravagant gifts, guests donated to scholarships for struggling students and shelters for homeless families. The story of the billionaire who pretended to be homeless spread around the world, but the headlines missed the most important lesson. People thought the experiment had helped Ethan find true love. In reality, it had helped him find his true self. He discovered that genuine wealth is measured not by the balance in a bank account but by the kindness shared when no one expects anything in return. Together Ethan and Lily built not only a beautiful marriage but also foundations that created affordable housing, supported small family businesses, and funded hospitals across the country. Years later, whenever journalists asked Lily what first attracted her to one of the richest men alive, she always smiled and answered, "I fell in love long before I knew he was a billionaire. I simply met a man who accepted a loaf of bread with gratitude and never forgot the value of a kind heart."